everyone, it's Dawn and welcome back to my channel. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's video if you were able to catch it. And in yesterday's video I made this card from the elements of box, or some of the elements from PAPERCRAFT Society Box 43 by Kathy Andronikou. And today, as promised, I'm going to make a bag stroke envelope for it to go in. So you'll see what I mean as we go along. So I'm just going to pop the wallet to one side. Now, you will need a piece of card from your own stash of, I think it's 12 by 7, it is. 12 by 7 inches, and we're making it with patterned paper. I'm going to be concentrating mainly on the papers from the box, with the exception of this one, which is from a 12 by 12 pad. So all we're going to do, we don't need to bother to do any scoring or anything like that. So it's 12 by 7, and I will add all of the measurements in the description below, as I will in all of my videos that have measurements. This is a double-sided, but I've chosen to keep that part on the inside. And all we're going to do is literally fold it in half so that the two top edges are together and give it a good crease. Now, if you want to score it, you need to score it at 6 inches, but I'm not going to bother. All I'm going to do is fold the thing in half and push down with my finger. So there you go. Couldn't be much simpler, really, could it? And so the next thing you need, we need to put I'm not just going to glue these bits together. I want a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to use 2 side pieces, and they measure 2 by 6. Yes, I was just double checking my measurements to make sure I got that right. So they measure 2 by 6. And actually, I'll tell you what, if I keep it that way, then you can see what I'm doing. And on both sides, just for quickness, you can use glue if you want to, but I have got a strong double-sided tape, so that's what I'm going to use, just because it's quicker. I will be using glue on some of the other parts, but for this part, I am going to be using double-sided tape. So I'm just going to line it up with the edge. Of course, if you use glue, you've got more than one chance of getting it in the right place, but I think we'll probably get away with that. And I'm just going to spin that round like that and take the backing tape off of the other one. So again, all I did, it was 6, I think it was 6. Yeah, 6 by 2, and all I did was folded it in half like that and creased it. But if you wanted to, you could score it at 1. But you really don't need to. You honestly don't need to. Just fold it in half and give it a good score with your fingers. It'll do. Because you're not going to see it anyway. So, and I do have a little bit of tape that's overhang there because I didn't measure it properly. So all we do, take it with your finger, let it stick to your finger and push it back in like that. No problem at all. So again, we're going to line it up with the edge and fold it down like that, or push it down like that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take the other part, just make sure it's pushed down nice and firmly. Take this part, push that down, push that up, just fold it along, follow the line along, and you can press one side then the other, or if you've got a wide enough span, you can press with your fingers and your thumb at the same time. But if you don't want to do that, just press one side, then the other. And we have the start of our gift bag, which will look like that. Now, you will need a bit of a flap to go on the top of that, especially if you're going to make it into an envelope to send, but we'll do that in a minute. But we're going to make the front a bit more decorative first, and we are going to be using the papers from this fabulous box, box 43, and I'm using this bright pink, which I absolutely love. It's fabulous. And you will need a piece which measures 5 1/4 by 6 1/4. Yes, 5 1/4 by 6 1/4. I was just double checking I got that right. And so I'm going to use a glue stick for this. So use a good strong one. If you can see a good thick application of glue, then it's a strong one. If it just looks a bit runny and thin, then it's not such a strong one. So any good strong thick glue stick will do. If you don't want to use glue stick, or if you haven't got a strong glue stick, then I'd advise you to use something like tacky glue or something like that. But don't use hot glue because it'll make it too bumpy, and it's not necessary. So I'm going to just pop that out of the way, and we're going to line that up. Make sure that you can see. You can. Absolutely fabulous. So I'm going to line that up and put it in the centre, more or less. Someone asked me the other day, someone left me a message and they said, how do you know that we can see? Well, my screen is above me, and if I can see what I'm doing in my screen, then you can see it. So that answers that question. For anyone who's asked me, well, I did have a couple of people saying, how do you know that we can see? And the simple answer is, if I can see the whole project through my screen, which is up there, then so can you. So I hope that answers your question. So thank you for those who asked. And I'm using this beautiful pattern paper here because it goes with our card. Absolutely love this. This was one of my favourite. I love all the pattern papers in this box, but I particularly love this one because I like peonies. So someone said to me, are they roses? I said, no, they're peonies. And this one, you will need 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. And again, I'm going to use glue stick or a glue stick, a strong glue stick to stick this into place. And then we will deal with the flap. So we'll just give it a good coating. Make sure you get into those corners and edges because we don't want the thing lifting. You can use tape if you want to. It's just that putting strips of tape across, it's just going to take extra time, and I didn't want it to. I wanted it to be fairly quick and easy. So I'm going to lay that down like that, and putting a mat, if you're already using, another quick tip here, if you're already using a patterned paper, if you're 12 by 12, the piece you started out with, your 12 by 7 piece is plain paper, then you could go directly with a pattern paper. But if you're using a pattern paper to begin with, it's always a good idea to put a plain colour between the two, because otherwise it looks a bit busy and it gets a bit lost. And it does look a lot nicer. And of course, the other reason is our card is layered as well. So you will make a more coordinated effect. Now, for the top here, I had a bit of a problem here. I was chatting away, thought I was recording, and for whatever reason, the thing had stopped recording. So I'll show you what I've done, because it's ever so easy. You need a top flap which measures 7 by 3 inches. And I've used one of the lovely pattern papers from this, and I folded it back or scored it at 1 inch, but that's just to go on the top. And I've used a piece of ribbon. Now what I did, this is the bit I thought I was recording before I realised that the thing had gone off. I used the point of a pair of scissors, if I can find my scissors, which I can't at the moment. But anyway, I used a pair of scissors. I was looking for my scissors, which seem to have done a bunk, but never mind. I used a pair of scissors and cut 2 slits, one there and one there, which you can probably see like that. And I put the ribbon through. This ribbon measures 10 inches. I put it through, and you can probably just about see it. I've taped it down. There is some double-sided tape on the underside of that ribbon, and I put some more double-sided tape on the top. So I hope that's made it a bit clearer. And I'm going to take it off. Don't know where my scissors went. That'll bother me now, but never mind. I'll probably find them when I finish my video. So make sure you've got it at the top. Otherwise you're going to end up putting the flap at the bottom where the crease is. We don't want that. So I would suggest lay it down like that. And put your bag or your envelope, whatever you want to call it. Gift bag, gift envelope, whatever. Like that. And push it down just beyond the crease so that you can still see that crease. I'll tell you why I've said it like that, because when you bring it down, if you have the fold right on the edge, you might not fold it down very flat. It might not fold flat. But if you do it so that you can just see the crease there, just see the fold line, that will fold down very nicely. And if you're going to hand deliver this, what you can do, you can, again, the other thing I used from this wonderful pack, apart from the ribbon, is I used part of this pack here, one of these papers here, and I cut out the individual peony and I cut out a sentiment, and you'll see that in just a minute. And what I've done is I've cut it out with a pair of scissors, and I've put a foam tape, or a foam pad, I beg your pardon, on the back. You could use foam tape if you wanted to. And what we're going to do, I'm only going to put it there because what I want to do, bring your flap down, bring your front flap down and stick it. Make sure you stick it so that that part, the foam pad, isn't touching the flap. Otherwise it'll flap, you'll close it and it won't open again. So stick it down like that. Give it a good press when you're sure it's in the right position. And then you've got a closure. And you can just tuck that in like that. Now, if you're hand delivering this, you can hand this to your recipient and that will be fantastic. If you're posting it, however, what I would suggest you do is, whether you keep the handle on is entirely up to you, but what I would suggest is you put a piece of double-sided tape and bring it down. You can still keep the peony on if you want to, or even if you put double-sided tape either side of the peony. So if you're posting it, and you also need to pop, I would suggest a 4x7 or 6x4, I beg your pardon, 6x4 mat on the back so that you've got room to write your address. If you wanted to, you could put some more papers on the back, but I'm going to leave the back as it is for the time being. I might pop a 6x4 mat because this is for a card that I'm probably going to send in the post. But even if you do, you can still keep that handle. It's quite nice to have it, especially for people who perhaps aren't quite so dexterous and have difficulty picking something up. They can pick it up by the handle. So you can keep that on, that's fine, but I shall leave that up to you. So we've got a couple more bits to do. We're nearly done here. In fact, we've only got one more piece to do. The only other thing I used from this pack, I used the sentiment, which was sitting up there, and it said, "Just for you." And I haven't got any adhesive on here yet, but what I'm going to do, because it's a bag, we don't want it bulky, we don't want too much bulk. So again, I'm just going to use a strong glue stick and just pop some glue all over that. I backed it with a piece of the offcut of the pink paper, this paper here, just to give it a bit of a border so it didn't get lost. And I'm going to put that, this time I am going to put it in the corner. So I quite like that. So there we go, guys. There is our gift bag for our card. So what you do, you take your card, which sort of measures, because it's that layered effect, it coordinates quite nicely, especially if you put this little peony on there, this beautiful peony. I love that. So all we do is you open that up, hope and pray that the thing goes inside, slide it in. Now when I did this, when I had a run through, it slid in beautifully. When I do it on video, it goes pear-shaped, but we're going to try anyway. So just lift it a little, I would suggest. And why isn't that going in? So, or the other trick I would say is, because it's quite a bulky card anyway, push, if it doesn't go, if you're having the trouble that I did, push on the sides like that. And then see if that should, hopefully, make it go in a bit better. Perfect. So that will go in like that. So I'm glad that was a bit of trouble. I'm glad that was troublesome now, because it gave me the opportunity of showing you how to deal with it. And then that will still sit. It may not sit like that. So what you may need to do is put that in first. And then see if you can, that might need to go up just a little bit higher, but whether we can get it off without tearing it, I don't know. So you could put that up a little bit higher, or as I say, you could still put some tape on there and seal it down like that, and that still looks beautiful. So I'm going to leave that to your imagination, and I'm going to, so if you want to have this as a closure, what I would suggest is you pop your card in first just to align it, which is what I should have done, but I didn't, so there you go. But never mind, we can still pop, we could even still pop some tape or some foam pads on the end like that if you wanted to. So I'm going to leave that like that for now. And I'm going to take that out. So of course now, because there's no bulk, it sits beautifully. So there you go, guys. There is our gift bag stroke envelope. But let's call it a gift bag because it's got that lovely handle. So there is our gift bag for our peony or a layered decoupage card. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found it useful. And I hope you found it useful when I showed you how to overcome the problem that I faced by just pushing it and opening it up a bit like that. So I hope that helps you as well. So there you go, guys. That's it for today. I will be back with project number 3 very soon. So in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. If you are a subscriber to my channel, thank you very much. If you're not a subscriber yet, but you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and you'll be notified of every other video in this series, plus future videos to come. And I will see you soon. And in the meantime, take care everybody, have fun, and as always, Happy crafting. Bye bye for now.